Here's a few defenses you should drop here heading into Week 16. The first one's the Green Bay Packers. They got a tough matchup versus the Tennessee Titans this week, who give up the second least amount of fantasy points to defenses. And the Packers, they've had a good few weeks now versus Philly, Detroit, Carolina. But now Tennessee, they're a good offense. They're going to be tough to stop, especially with Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, and Corey Davis. I think this ball game is going to be a high-scoring game, back-and-forth battle. Green Bay, they didn't look that great last week, so it's going to be a chipper, and they're going to come out strong as well. But I don't think they're going to stop this Tennessee offense as well, because that run defense is weak, and I could see Derrick Henry having a big ball game as well versus this Packer defense. They're still owned in 51% of fantasy leagues, but their defense you should drop this week, because I just can't count on them making some big plays and getting points. The second defense is the Tennessee Titans. We're staying in the same game. The Titans last week, they had a pretty decent matchup for fantasy purposes, is Tennessee, where they had a decent fantasy game with 9 fantasy points versus Detroit. But this week at Green Bay, like I just said, it's going to be a shootout, high scoring. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, they don't turn the ball over. And Tennessee, I don't see many opportunities where this defense is going to have a good game in fantasy. And they're still owned in 47% of fantasy leagues, but I think they're an easy drop at the defensive position. So I would shy away here from Tennessee's defense and drop them. And the third and final defense I would drop heading into Week 16 is the Indianapolis Colts. And they've been a good defense for most of the fantasy season. But this week at Pittsburgh, who gives up the least amount of fantasy points to defenses, there's so many better options out there. I know the Colts, they've been good, like I said, but I just can't trust them in a tough matchup here versus Pittsburgh, even though Pittsburgh's had their struggles as well. This game's in Pitt. Pitt needs a win after losing 3 in a row, losing 2 games as well to mediocre teams. So I think Pittsburgh, they're going to get off to a good start, and it's going to be tough for Indy to stop them. And I think it's a shootout as well. So the Colts defense, I think, is droppable this week, with better options on the board. So that's a few defenses I would drop here heading into Week 16.